We will call this meeting to order, but before we begin the meeting, I would like to make one announcement because I know a lot of you are in the audience tonight, and that is the CU 1218 Dale Bevel, which is item X on our action item, and it's for individual action. We have gotten a letter late this afternoon that requests we postpone this vote for 2 weeks to our next meeting in December. Historically, in the past, anytime we've gotten these requests, we have honored the request. It gives the person 2 weeks to reach out to the neighborhood, the church, whatever they want to do, to see if they can do anything different. To be honest, that might be what they're doing. That might not be what they're doing. I don't know why the request was made, but it was made. Historically, we have always done that for the petitioner. So the council has agreed tonight to do that again, and so basically it will come up for vote our next meeting in December, which is the 17th. And at that time, we won't defer it. I believe I can speak for the rest of the council that we will vote it up or down at the meeting on the 17th. But I didn't want y'all sitting here and then we get there and we do it and y'all sit here this whole time. So I just wanted to announce it ahead of the meeting. And if anybody wants to sit for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome to stay. But we won't be addressing that item tonight. So I just want to be sure everybody knows that before we start.
And I want to apologize for everyone that came out for this item. Really appreciate, your concerns with what's going on in the city. And again, I apologize for you having to come out tonight.
All right. With that, we're going to move on into the agenda. Our first item is, 1 minute. Let everybody that wants to leave. Well, I didn't want everybody to go.
Thank you, Reverend Dork.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's one guy I really admire. Timothy Dork.
Nice man.
Did a lot of business when they built this church. Well, we still got Lonnie.
Y'all gonna pick it at for me.
Oh, I never heard you. All right, with that, we've got Pastor Jim Harry with St. Paul Church here to lead us in invocation. If you would, please stand. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Let's pray. Eternal Father, strong to save, we who are living in but one moment in time acknowledge that you alone govern the universe. It is only by your grace that you allow us to share and participate in the governance of your children. In bowing before your holiness, we acknowledge that we do not always do our best at times. So forgive us for those times when we place our own wants and needs above the needs of others. Humble us, O Lord, and guard our hearts so that we might be willing to find room in them for you to offer us the depth of understanding and concern necessary to fully accomplish the common good. We ask your blessing upon those who serve us and lead our community. May this distinguished body continue to honor this wonderful town as they offer us their gifts of leadership. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Pastor. Roll call. Here.
Yep. Here.
Councilmember Broadway.
Here.
Councilmember Stevens.
Here.
Councilmember Foster.
Present.
Councilmember Abrams.
Here. We're all here. Next, we got the approval of minutes of the special meeting of November 14th, 2018 for adoption.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed likewise. Motion carries. Or minutes are approved. Presentations, we have none. Public hearings, we have none. Public comment period. This is the time anybody in the audience may come up and speak for up to 3 minutes. So if there's anybody in the audience who'd like to speak for up to 3 minutes, now's your time. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, City Councilman. I come to address you again about what I spoke to you about a month ago concerning a joint town hall and city council meeting to discuss, to have a PowerPoint presentation concerning the status of all Hurricane Matthew relief programs and what's the status, how many houses are being repaired. I thought there was a consensus that that was a good idea. However, I haven't seen any headway on that, and I came to ask a second request that this be presented, and especially the people who have affected be invited to this meeting. Also want to bring to the city's attention that why did we refuse a $100,000 2018 housing grant for Goldsboro low-income homeowners, which I find is egregious and definitely immoral. That we would turn down $100,000 for home repairs and just say, no, we don't want it. We don't want to repair people's house with $300,000. So I'd like to see that be addressed. Also like the city consider, and I feel they should immediately request an independent financial audit, which is already done each year, and it may have already been done, but I'd like to see the city get results and publish it before the end of this month. I also like to see the city consider what's called a compliance audit, where they will look at federal, state funds and to see if we're doing a good job with that. And if necessary, the city requests a forensic audit. I also like this request the city place a 2-year moratorium on planning, designing, and building new parks and recreation facilities until all of Goldsboro's homes have been repaired utilizing the hurricane funds that's on hand. We have about $6 million plus downstairs waiting to be used to repair homes. And that money, as far as I know, is still sitting there. But yet we talk about building parks, ordering golf carts, and of the like. And I just think we need to take a higher moral ground in how we prioritize our projects in the city. And last, I like to ask the city to consider to appoint a disaster relief oversight committee. And that's a committee to help ensure disaster housing grant programs are moving in an efficient and progressive manner. I have 23 seconds left.
I have a question for you, sir. How did you find out the information pertaining to the $100,000 that we refused that particular grant?
Very easy. I called the North Carolina Housing Authority and talked to 2 individuals up there, and that they would give me that public information. I called to find out, number one, how do they offer assistance? I said, you have a lot of towns and cities around North Carolina. If some cities and towns are stumbling, that somebody call and say, hey, Goldsboro, hey, Kinston, wherever you are, you haven't submitted any projects for your work. Do you need any help? Can we send down people? They informed me that they are aware that Goldsboro has been moving at a turtle pace. They have been also told me that they have reached out to offer assistance, but they cannot force assistance on a particular city and county. So that tells me that they have reached out and said, hey, do you need some help? They did not get an affirmative, so that way they did not come down here. They also shared with me that there was a $218,000, what's called an urgent repair grant. We get that every year. It's $8,000 to do urgent repair on people's houses, for roofs, for leaky pipes, and it only would serve 12 people, 12 low-income homeowners. But that's 12 low-income homeowners the city doesn't have to pay for. And that grant was turned down. Goldsboro, well, let me rephrase it. It wasn't turned down. They didn't apply for it.
Whose job is that? Whose job is that?
I'd rather have the city manager because they're changing positions. So I just know that they do have a contact point as far as these grants is current, and they told me it was Ms. Chacole that handles this. And they do tell me there's certain reasons that did say she sounded genuine, but they was questioning whether or not she has enough manpower or people assigned to get these grants and get these housing repairs done. So I don't want to deflect any negativism on anybody. I just want to report the facts as I know, put them on paper, and put my name to them.
Can I have the name of the person you spoke with?
I did not write down his name, but he's in charge. You can ask Randy. Randy talked with him the same morning I called back. I think Randy talked with him twice, your city manager. So Randy was glad to give you. There's about 4 people that works up there, and I talked with about 3 of them. So I don't make these things up, Councilman, but your acting city manager would be glad to share those names with you.
I had one question. Can you break down your reasoning for requesting the audits a little bit more in detail, just a little bit, so you know what direction council do we need to go?
We got it all.
I'm concerned about the audits in that we have, anytime a company, whether it's a city or whether it's a major corporation, loses chief operating officer, its chief financial officer, and its chief accounting or what have you, then that company usually do some type of what's called an exit audit. I used to have to do them in the military. Before I could go on an assignment, they had to make sure all of the emergency equipment in the emergency room that Sergeant Wright was responsible for was still there. And I wasn't going with life packs and stuff going out the door. So it's commonplace. And that's what this audit is all about, because we are losing. We recently lost, had a retired city manager. We are going to have retired chief financial officer, assistant chief financial officer, and also we have a chief of recreation, parks and recreation, who's leaving. That accounts for a lot of money. And also, I do have some concerns about the federal income, the federal grants, because the city's budget says we got $5.8 million for community development block grant. But the county budget says they gave Goldsboro $5.4 million. So it's only, well, I won't say it's only, it's $400,000 difference between these both legitimate budgets that I received both from the county and from the city. But there's clearly, and I'm not an accountant, I'm just saying, it just will be prudent with people leaving, with grants. We're already waiting on, haven't even spent Hurricane Matthew grants, and we may be getting more money for Hurricane Florence. And we still don't know exactly what's going on with Matthew. And I just think it'd be prudent for the city to try to see that these audits are done in a timely manner, so the new people coming in and the citizens will know exactly where the money is, what's being done, especially as far as the grants.
Mr. Wright, I believe you in what you have here and what you're saying. I just have a question. If the city has certain money and funds that are allocated, you said they're lingering in outer space per se, or however, what is the county responsible? What is our county? You're coming to us. What is the county commissioner's role in the county, and what do you have information about what they're doing or what they have not done? Because I mean, I think from what I know of the county has more, I would believe, more money than the city does. So, what information do you have about them, or you don't have anything for them?
No, I have a lot. I mean, I have to read probably about a couple thousand pages just to talk 3 minutes to you gentlemen. But anyway, what I would say is, number one, is when you talk about the community development block grant, what they did is the county got $16.9 million for 2 years. And Goldsboro said, well, we're going to handle our own building. And they said, okay, Goldsboro, here's your $5.8 million. You do your own show. So you're responsible for your own home repairs, your own cleaning ditches and cutting down trees. That's your part of the community development block grant. That's your responsibility. The city took that on. So we can't go back to the county. As far as the urgent repair grant, that comes from the North Carolina Housing directly to Goldsboro. That's for the citizens of Goldsboro only. That's that $100,000. Then there was another grant that I remember our mayor brought up back in February 2017, a long term to it. It was called Central Single Family Housing Rehabilitation Loan Pool. Got to take a breath just to say that name. But that was another grant. The city was directly responsible for that grant. That is, we got about $350,000. That's in a portal. And what happens with that portal is each person can have up to $40,000 for repairs. And as the repairs are done, that money is taken out. It's like an account for the city. And the more work you do, you take out the money from that portal and pay the construction company or whatever company is doing. So all the things I brought up, I'm not one to bring up things that's outside of your realm of responsibility. All the things that I bring up to the city has absolute authority over it. There's nothing there that now.
Well, I'm not stating that. I'm please forgive me if you think that's what I was saying. I'm not saying that. I wanted to know what is the county's role in any parts of this, because I believe, like I said, the county commissioners are over the county, but they also look over the city because the city is over the county as well. We look over the city.
No, I'm telling you, the county has no responsibility.
That's what I was just about to get at. Once the county gave that 5.8, they were done at that point.
Okay.
Now, even though
they've even mentioned that in the news August about over a year ago, they said no, we're not responsible for what Goldsboro
does with the money.
Community development.
Got you. Okay.
But you're saying even with that 5.8 that they said they gave us, we're saying we only received 5.4 million.
Well, that's what's on paper.
I'm just saying that's what's on paper. So I'm trying to get to your reason for the audit.
It's the opposite way around. The city is saying we got 5.8.
Oh, okay. The city's saying they got 5.8.
And the county is saying they gave us 5.4.
Okay.
Can I interject here, Mr. Wright? First, some of your facts are wrong. We have, as a matter of fact, done and dispersed. After your last meeting, this whole council got a report on the emergency money. We have done several of the $8,000 grants up to about $100,000. So we have done that. It's on record. It's on paper. I don't know if the names are public or not public. I don't know if we can publish them, but I know that we've done that. As far as the audit, we get audited all the time. We get compliance audits with HUD. We also have an audited financial statement. We're audited all the time, and I feel very confident our stuff is correct. As far as the county, we are a sub-grantee to the county. The county has not released the money to us, nor have we gotten the money from the state. So don't sit here and let this audience think that we've sitting on 5.4, 6, 8, or $6 million, because it's not true. We're not doing that. And if you're going to come up here, you ought to have your facts straight, because what you're representing is that we're not doing what we're supposed to do with the money, and that is not at all true. It is a very complicated, as I've said before, very convoluted process. I am more than happy to sit down with you, show you what we spent, but I can attest to we have definitely spent any monies we have gotten to date any way that we could possibly spend to help these people get back in their houses. And I'm more than welcome, and I'm glad to sit with you and Randy and whoever else wants to look at that.
It's not necessary that you sit with me. The whole idea of me coming before the city council twice for this is to sit with the community. Every time there's something that goes on in the city as far as building, it's in the newspaper, it's in the Goldsboro Daily News, but we haven't heard anything. There's a TV station that came down and gave a report about somebody's house that lives right on South John Street. That house borders the golf course where we are either buying or leasing 50 new golf courts. And I just think it's bad and it's kind of immoral that we haven't said anything publicly about where we are in this. And I don't see what's wrong with that.
Mr. Wright, what we have done is a public document. We have done everything above board. We have done everything public. Some of these houses, as you know, are not obtainable. They're rental houses. There are different reasons that the people have gotten financial aid from somewhere else. It's not as easy as you're coming up here and saying that.
Well,
and
I'm
you
not
know
saying it's easy for the city to put on a presentation that says we have received $5.4 million is our share of the community, and it says it right here and what it's for. It says it's for single-family homeowner rehabilitation, number of units 12. So therefore, the city can say, city, we supposed to repair 12 homes with this amount of money. We have not done one home or two homes. Give an update. There's no update. You just have remained silent
that is
for
not
2
true.
years.
I'm not
So
gonna debate you,
what
but
would
you're
be
wrong in what you're
with-
saying.
With having a public hearing.
We have a document
And-
that shows every bit of that, Mr. Wright.
You may have a document.
It's available to anybody, especially the people affected, sir.
Well, I'm just saying, so as far as you're concerned, Mr. Mayor, you do not think it's a need to have a public hearing or a town hall meeting describing where the city is as far as repairing houses under all these different grants? Because there's an urgent repair grant, that's another fund, housing fund. There's the essential single family, the urgent repair, that's $100,000 for home repairs. Essential single family, that's $350,000.
Mr. Wright,
for
we
home
have the
repairs.
names of every person. We have contacted every person, every property owner that has anything to do with anything of a flood buyout. We have called, we have contacted, we have written letters. I promise you, we are diligently trying to help every person that we
Then
can.
publicize it. Just put out, we have a new press person that the city just hired. Let that press person put out a release. Here's an update on our programs that we have and where we are on.
Thank you for your comments.
Even the
Thank you, sir.
individual citizen can call 211
Okay.
and it says you are now in
All
phase
right.
6.
Thank you for your
phase
comments,
8.
Mr. Wright.
Let me take the floor 1 second before we dismiss him, please, sir, if it's okay with you. I agree with you pertaining to we have a lot of staff that is leaving, and I agree that we should have a forensic audit. I think that's just transparency for the citizens. So I make a motion that we approve a forensic audit.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed likewise? Motion fails. And I just want to point out, we are already getting audited. There's no point in wasting more
A
money.
forensic audit is totally different than an audit.
It is absolutely
A
not.
forensic audit is going to be
Thank you,
from
Mr. Wright.
someone
Have a good night.
that is
Who
not
would like to speak next?
someone that you are comfortable with.
Next speaker. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. I just wanted to stop by to remind us about the vote that's happening in 2 weeks. I don't want a week to go by and you not hear from the community and know we still have a petition here with over 60 names. We're still gaining more petitions. And we want you guys to know how important it is as a community for that junkyard not to be placed. I'm sorry, where we're at. I talk about a lot of stuff, huh? So honestly, we want to just look at the definition of the city. The definition of the city is compromise of the inhabitants that dwell in the city. So the city is not property, it's not land, it's the people. And our community has a very rich history of the people there. Like we said, it's right by a church. Neighborhoods right there, and we do have junk ground that was unfortunately grandfathered in our community, which we feel would be very unfortunate to have 2 junkyards in one community. So I think all of the councilmen, you could look at this as a people issue, and like you said, I know historically, you let things, you let people go and you want to focus on due process, which is odd because due process is the issue that we have been working on. So I'm glad to see that you guys are focused on it now because we haven't been in the past. But I do appreciate good decisions coming from this situation and honest decisions that will be helpful to the community to make sure we do not get a junkyard in our district, because if they can put a junkyard in our district, what could they do in the other districts? So let's focus on the city and helping fix the people and not just properties, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? Anybody else? All right, seeing none, we're going to close the public comment period and we will move to consent agenda.
Mayor and City Council members, presented for your considerations consent agenda items B through J.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agendas item B through J.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call?
Mayor Allen.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Pro Tem Ham.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
No.
Councilmember Broadway.
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens.
This is not including the salvage yard.
No, it doesn't include
Okay. Yes.
Councilmember Foster.
No.
Councilmember Ahern.
Yes.
The consent agenda is approved. Next, we have item K, which we have removed from the agenda for 2 weeks. Next, we have the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a reminder of a few events. We do have Jingle in the Park, which is this Friday and Saturday from 4 to 8 at Herman Park. We'd like to remind everybody to try our free horse-drawn trolley rides in downtown Goldsboro. They're every Tuesday through December 18th from 6 to 8, and it's at the John Street parking lot entrance. And I'd also like to point out, we are working on our sound system in here. We have replaced the main mic to try to improve the sound based on some concerns that were expressed at the last meeting. And we'll be working over the next few meetings, tweaking our mixer and amplifier to balance these mics with that mic so it works well on TV and Facebook Live as well as here in the room. But we did hear that complaint and have replaced the mics and are working towards making it better.
Great, thank you,
That's
sir.
it, sir.
Council member and comments, we'll start with Mr. Ham. Mr. Ham, Mr. Haycock.
I noticed driving to City Hall today, what usually takes me 15 minutes took me 25. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people that's got their minds on shopping rather than on stopping. So, look out for yourself, drive safe.
No comment.
No comment.
I don't even. I'm still trying to piece all this together. I will say that I hope that everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope over the next coming weeks that you will have a wonderful Christmas holiday. I also wanted to interject for a moment and say, there's a lot of things that we know about, and there's a lot of things that we don't know about, and even though that they are brought to us, and I'm just like, whoa, okay, because it's never hit my desk or never hit my email. I specifically say that whether knowing it being out there, we need to take a great look at what we're doing and how we organize ourselves and conduct ourselves, whether it's these things that are factual and that I know what we're going through and I know we're being audited, or whether it's other issues of just working alongside of each other and being in a community that I so funnily, hilariously hear, in a sense, that things are done just because that's the way things have always been done. I don't believe that. I believe that at the true heart and nature of all people, that we can evolve and keep doing things the way we're doing and nothing change, or we can look at a better way of life and try to evolve ourselves in our minds and our heart sets to that. So I just hope whatever outcome comes, we start looking at and embracing the future and for a brighter tomorrow, instead of just recapitulating and recapturing, trying to just recapture the past. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Ms. Rowley?
I just have one thing. I'd like to thank the people, the planners. I think it was the Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank the police and also the help we had from Seymour Johnson, and the participants. That 95 groups of people sat in the rain, and also the people that sat and watched that parade on Saturday. I'd like to thank everybody for doing it. It shows a hometown spirit, and I think it's very important. And I'd just like to thank everybody. That's all I have, sir.
Mr. Williams?
No comment.
All right. Well, I would follow up with Councilman Broadway. I want to also thank all those involved in the parade, all those who stuck it through in the rain. I understand it was raining pretty good that night. And so there's a lot of work goes into that parade, from the participant side to the police side, and also I really do appreciate it. Everybody's starting to do their shopping now. December is the time we all start shopping. I do want to ask that wherever you can, you shop local. It supports our community and our businesses here, who in turn support the community. Unfortunately, this is also a time that crime always spikes in our community. So I ask everybody to be aware of your surroundings. If you walk out of the mall, know where your purse is. Just kind of know what's around you, especially our seniors. If you put packages in your car, hide them somewhere. I mean, these simple things that if you don't do, you're going to get hit some way or another. So just I just want to just have that in everybody's mind, just be conscious of where you are and what's going on. It's a shame we have to do that, but we do have to do that, and it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, anywhere, you're not, it can happen anywhere, so I just want you to know that. And then this also a time of giving, so I just want to encourage everyone to start anything you can doing to help your neighbor, help those that might be less fortunate than you. And with that, I will stand adjourned, and thank everybody for coming.